Hello there everyone, Leslie here as you know, and what I'm bringing today is very exciting for me to be presenting this, and it's the foundation of whatever we want to achieve in life. This is all about our manifesting and as conscious creators that we are. So the principle that I'm teaching here in this video for you, I really want to set all of you up for success, for what you want to achieve. And this principle, it applies to absolutely everything. So from our, the 6 inches between the ears that I'm always preaching about, I'm obsessed with mindset work and healing. It's life-changing, and therefore, this is where we begin. So if we want to change anything in life, starting from our health, we create from the inside out. So our mental health, our physical health, our emotional health, relationships, finances, business, everything, whatever it is, it all starts with a vision. Because even in scripture, and I'm not religious, spiritual yes, religious no, let me just get that sorted. But the scripture says, without a vision, the people perish. And how true is it? We can have a head full of knowledge and be so well intended, but without seeing it and having the faith before we manifest it into our physical lives, what is it? It's frustration. It's it's clogged energy. Because it's not seen, it's not felt. So girls, I want to give you the best of the best so that you can implement this, and with the how-to recipe. And some are, some people find this so easy to do, others don't find it so easy to do. Some have done it before, some haven't done it before. And so I'm giving it to you so that you can do exactly what I've done and what I do from the source of the best, because this teaching comes from the source of how to consciously create and manifest into our physical lives whatever we want. So I'm going to deep dive and get straight into it, and I'll from the beginning to the end, everything you're going to get in this teaching, so that then you can get excited and have clarity. Once you've got the clarity, you'll be able to energetically just deep dive into it and get it done and be practicing it into your lives all the time and every day, more than once a day. And fast track your results. Because once you've got, it's like making the perfect chocolate cake, isn't it? Once you've got the exact ingredients and the how-to, the right temperature on the oven for how long, you open that oven door at the end of the time and pull out that tin, you're going to have the perfect chocolate cake. And this is the same. So once you've got the clarity and the confidence, then your faith is going to be so much more increased. And you're going to believe, you're going to have belief that you can create what you want. So here we go. And this is how I've set mine up. Because if I'm at home, when I'm at home, if I go to the Sunshine Coast for the weekend, if I flip off to Melbourne to visit family, this is everything. This is close to my heart, comes with me. It's a part of my life. All right. So what I've done with these sleeves, I've just inserted. So the first one here is Plan Your Success. Now all of you have these, and so you just print it off. So the first one is Plan Your Success. Then the second one is your plan. I'll go into each page, but I've got the same as what you've got. So I've given you what I use. And then creating your reality with morning rituals and programming your mind with affirmations. So each one is in a sleeve, you see? So nothing, so the quality of each page is being looked after. And so they're not scrappy pieces of paper or a book you leave behind somewhere. This is a very, very specific how-to and your own personal plan. So let's get into this. And I'm just going to read it out because there are relevant things along the way here. So education consists not so much of knowledge, but of knowledge effectively and persistently applied. People are paid not merely for what they know, but more particularly for what they do with what they know. And I find the number of women that I talk to on a daily basis, I hear much the same sort of struggles. There's a lot of women who are very, very, very knowledgeable, and yet oftentimes I find they don't have the recipes they need, and they're not implementing and being persistent and consistent. So plan your success. So what you do is you put your name, and this is what I want to talk about, because where it's got here, like whatever your plan is, I, Leslie, have X by, you must put the goal date. And then it says specific for, I made a typo there, it should be 30 days from now, 60 days from now, 90 days from now, 1 year from now. Well, I'm just going to give you a tip here, because I personally find with planning, I'm much more efficient and I relate to short-term goals. I don't conceptually, sure, like income-wise, if you want to create 200K for the year, and then you work back from that, and I teach that. However, for me, and this might help you too, short-term, because in my past, when I had a sales background, in my career before I was an entrepreneur, I had a yearly goal, but then I worked it back. I reverse engineered it from the 12 months to monthly, weekly and daily. And I was able to have it was more real to me in a short term. So for me, I've set mine up in a 30-day goal, because that's very easy for me to measure and evaluate and keep myself accountable. So it might help you too, because it can be too overwhelming. There can be too much in it. So why don't you start with a 30-day? Because once you've got your document on file on your laptop, so every month you can just print a new one off and repeat. But it does help me be more successful, but more accountable, and it's more real, because it's very close to me in the way I think. All right. So I think that might help some of you with that. So I've got mine written out, and it's one thing. It's my goal that I want. It's a 30-day goal, and the way that I set mine up, which is a habit, as I say, back when I was in corporate world, and this works for me. When I was an insurance agent, there was 1 year where they were the industry was taking away the end of year bonuses, and I knew if I didn't reach that, I wouldn't be able to. I wanted to buy a house. I knew I wouldn't be able to. So what I did to set myself up with certainty, even though there was an end of year date, I put my date 3 weeks ahead of that, so that if I wasn't over the line of what I required to get that bonus, I could look at it, I would know it, and I could do something about it and go all out and go crazy to make sure I got it. So that really worked for me, and I achieved it. So I tend to still do that. So with a 30-day goal, I like to set mine at 25 days, because then I can keep myself accountable and look at it, because if I've reached it within 25 days, it's happy dance and keep going and do more. So it's a higher energy. It's a little trick I've learned and it works. So I'm sharing that. And so so I've written out my mine is a business goal, and for 30 days, under 30 days. And then the next part on the page is what you intend to exchange for the exact outcome, because you can't get something for nothing. So in the terms of sowing and reaping, that's what this is about. So it's one of those universal principles. So if whatever I want to achieve by the end of the 30 days in that first month, then I look at what I am willing to commit to and do in order to pull it off. Be in front, be happy, be a winner, feel damn good. And this is all, it's so simple once you get into it. So I've written down here, 1, 2. So I come from the space of prioritizing the activities that are going to get me the results. So I don't worry about the fluff, the incidentals. I look at the most relevant activities and tasks to focus on and put all of my heart, my intention, and my energy, my action. That's what I'm willing to give, so that I'm setting myself up to be able to achieve that goal within 30 days. So that's what I've written down there. So just follow this, turn the page. So then on the next page, we've got the plans. So this is a good page, really interesting. The 3 or 4 major ways or ideas you already have, but haven't really written down or committed to bring your desired goal around. You already have an inkling of these things, but this is about you simply giving yourself permission to acknowledge what your higher self's been trying to transmit to you. So what I've done here, and this is what you need to do. There's 1, 2, 3, 4 areas to write out what you're willing to do. And up the top, what I've written here is reverse engineer your 30-day goal with its date to be achieved by. Remember that, you've got to put the date. And so reverse engineer, like from the previous page, what mine is. So what I do then is in my calendar, or if you use a diary, it's the same thing, same principle. So then set your week up for success. Not get it out of the head. And what you do is you commit in each day by blocking out the time frame, whether it's 15 minutes, half an hour, however long it's that task is going to take for this activity. Now in my case it's Monday to Friday, because I do not work weekends, period, end of story. So Monday to Friday, the activities I put in my calendar each time, each day, and that's rock solid, locked in. It's as important as any other activity that's locked in. And so it's a priority. You don't put it to the side and give something else priority over it, because this is how you're creating your future. Now, come the weekend, come Saturday and Sunday, I still do affirmations. Now, if you're doing something like a 30-day video challenge, as some of you would be, what you can do if you want the weekend off is you can do 2 videos ahead of time during the week, and upload them on the weekend if you don't want to do the videos on the weekend. But apart from that, the affirmations are to become your new normal, where it's every day, no matter what's happening in life. All right, so what I've done here for your plans, your major ways. So I've got, so in my business, I'm going up to a new standard. So I'm going to be doing a lot more video teaching and delivering value in that way. So that's one thing I'm going to be doing. I'm also going to be committing to a 30-day video challenge, just because it keeps, for my mind, I love it, because once I start it, it's like it takes the lid off and opens up so much that it's energetically, it's a very good thing to do. So most of mine, my 4 activities are based around the things that I really super enjoy doing, and that is, I love being in sales conversations. That is my bliss. That is my number 1 activity in the day, is being of service to prospects and to my clients. So whatever yours is for your goal, they are the 4 activities that you reverse engineer into your diary or your calendar for every day, and commit to it and be persistent. And it's a new muscle to develop, and after the first 30 days, once you pull this off, then you'll be able to go on and do a complete new one. All right, so why and how this works. Remember, the mind must be commanded, because it's a loose cannon if we don't. If you leave a mind to find its own answers, it'll get swayed with fear and angst and whatever else, as we all know. So if you want to rid your mind of fear, you've got to be vigilant. You've got to command your mind every day by reading. You've got to read this plan out loud as soon as you wake up in the morning and just before bed at night. So I'll say it again, that the reason why, you should keep this beside your bed. The reason why is because of the subconscious. This is all new programming into the subconscious. And of a morning when we first wake up, you've got to be careful what you think about, because the subconscious clicks in, and it's in action, it's working. So if you're waking up on the wrong side of the bed, as they say, course correct, change channels straight up, because this is the most receptive. First thing in the morning and late at night, not late at night, but before going to sleep at night, is when the subconscious is like a sponge. So be very, very mindful of what goes in. And that is why doing this work, reading your success plan and going through all your affirmations at those 2 pivotal times every day, is a very, very, very positive practice to do. You can do it other times as well, but the most effective times is before that subconscious, gets into 4th gear and overdrive. While it's still stirring, while it's still waking from the sleep, feed it with all the good that is in here. So that's why those times. So maybe get your highlighter and highlight that. So just turning over. So creating your reality with morning rituals and reprogramming your mind with affirmations. So I'm just going to read through all of this, because this is the source from which this comes. You won't find better. And I value what I've got, and I love whenever I get better resources, I always share them on to my existing clients, not just new clients, but existing clients, to be sure that you're getting the best. So So there are a few ways to use affirmations to reprogram and repattern your mind. I read the first thing, I was just saying that, first thing in the morning and right before going to bed. Your mind is like an oven, so what you put into it is what you get out of it, so be careful what you put in. Try this for 30 days and I guarantee you'll begin seeing miracles happening in your life. Can happen sooner too, and it does. Remember, success is simply a matter of habits done daily, nothing more. Reading affirmations with emotion consistently is the way to reprogram your mental landscape. Think about when you first learned to read and write. What did you do? Practice. It's the same. You know, when I learnt maths at school back in the day, it was repetition, 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 repetition with times table. Repetition. So I know them. Yes, so rising of a morning, the first thing is to read your plan. You really take ownership of it. The power of doing this on a few pages, it's just life-changing. I love it. So it's how I want to feel. It's how I want to feel in my business. That's what this is all about. And if you're doing it where it's not your business, it's for some other goal, some other reason, it's the same thing. It's how you want to feel, isn't it? Because our feelings are number one. So make sure they're good feelings. Not that we're robots. No one's going to be bright and shiny every day. I just want to add that in. But the more you do this and this becomes your new normal, when something does come and hit you sideways and you get a bit, flat, when you're more persistent and in this practice, I have found you get back up quicker. Whereas if you're not doing this work up here and in your heart, you stay down longer. And that's what the normal is out there in life. And then if there's, inspirational quotes. There's a lot of awesome quotes around that are based on truth and are quite old. They go back to some with, Napoleon Hill, Think and Grow Rich. So that goes back to the 1920s and 1930s. So truth is truth. Doesn't have to be all new, so long as it's truth. So most of these are taken from and this is a very old book of Shakti Gawain. Some of you might know of it. Her book, Creative Visualization. And the funny thing is, I know this book, and I'll just tell you a little story. This is so funny. When I was an insurance agent from 1990 to 96, I wasn't into this. I was touching on counselling and family therapy at that time because as an insurance agent, I was more like a counsellor. That was my heart back then, even though I was in sales. And the funny thing was, I found this book and it was in such a mess. It had all been affected by water. And that's how I came to know this book. When I was an insurance agent between 1990 and 96, so it's been around a long time, but it's the right deal on creative visualization. So things to remember: always phrase your affirmations in the present tense. The I am, not I will. That keeps it in the future. I am. It's important to create your desire as if it already exists. Don't say, I will get a wonderful new job. Instead, I have a wonderful new job. I am a conscious creator. I am totally worthy and deserving of extreme wealth, joy, and romance. It's the feeling. It's having these affirmations become your new normal. It takes persistency. Just do it. Yes. So the creative visualization. So going through all of these affirmations in each area, feeling good, relationships, opening creativity, divine love and guidance. So the whole range here. And if you don't feel that you've got to do them all, and if you miss any of them, that, it's not good enough. No. Go through them for sure. Read them all. And if you've got a few that you particularly love, like the one that I just rattled off, you can be driving along and they can be your favourites. You can say them 1,000 times every day. If you've got a negative gremlin that shows up during the day, if you're having a hard moment, change channels and just start speaking out one or two that are your favourites. And I find that's a really effective thing for me to get me back on track if I go a little bit sideways. But the thing is to commit to doing your affirmations with emotion. Otherwise it's a dry creek bed, because it's our feelings. It's our feelings when we feel and see and know what our vision is, to put the feeling into. So to commit to this for your 30 days, morning and night. Remember, success is simply habits performed daily. Easy to do, not to do. Decide, just make a decision, regardless of how you feel every day. If you live off your feelings and waiting until you feel good, you're setting yourself up to fail. So even on the days when you're not feeling fabulous, you just do it. So you're growing a new muscle of persistency. You're commanding your mind. You're not letting your mind and your emotions rule you. You must command the mind, because that is where the battlefield is. Now, so just to summarize here, winning is habit. Unfortunately, so is losing. And a lot of successful people doesn't mean they're smarter or more intelligent. Sometimes it's simply that they're willing to do the things that unsuccessful people aren't willing to do. Now, when it comes to the visualizing, so back here on page 1 where you've got your 30-day goal, then it's not overwhelming. And this is what works for me. This is how I break it down. So it's very easy for me to sit. This is what it's about. To be able to do your affirmations with feeling is to sit in the feeling. And for those of you who know the resource that I've given, and I'll say it again, on YouTube, go to Greg Braden, G-R-E-G-G, Braden, B-R-A-D-E-N, and listen to his teachings. One in particular, feeling is the prayer. And the other resource to check in on is David Hawkins, his book, Power versus Force. So that also is on YouTube, where you see the calibration of emotions from the lowest, which is shame and guilt, right up to love and above, which is 500, and then joy and enlightenment. So this is the essence distilled to what this is all about, to be conscious creators. So the feeling is the visualizing in your mind. This is giving you the opportunity to create your own movie. And the only way I can do it, and I'm being straight up here, the 30 days for me just works. To do it too far into the future, it's a concept. But for me to have ownership and take responsibility to be able to do it and pull it off, 30 days, I can visualize. So that's what you do. So what you've written down here as that one for your first 30 days, then it's very easy to be able to give, depending on if you're accustomed to doing this or not, but nevertheless, because it's one thing, you will be able to create your own movie of seeing it. So that one goal for me right now, I'll share with you, to be able to sit, because I often sit not consciously meditating, but I will sit what I call, and it looks like I'm doing nothing, or I might have my feet up, and I'll sit and I'll close my eyes, and I will imagine that day. I can be sitting here right now, and I'm going to imagine that 25 days from now of what I've wanted to achieve and how I feel and what I'm going to do to celebrate it. That's how I do it. And that feeling is the creating. So that is pulling something from the future not yet seen, pulling it into now. And that's what this is about. Otherwise it is not real. So for me, one thing is so tangible and easier. It sets my confidence up. And this is how I teach it, because in my experiential knowing, I relate to it. And this is something I would love your feedback on, because this will change your life if you do it. And having it this way, for me, it's just, some things I don't change. And I keep things really, really simple, and my desk is so uncluttered. I have these gorgeous pads that I use. I have these gorgeous pads. They're artist pads, and they're unlined. They're the quality of art paper. I have my gel pen. I have my water, a couple of highlighters on my desk, my laptop and phone. And that's my work day. And a plant, that's my work day. So I like simplicity. And so this works for me, breaking it down to 30 days with one goal. And I mean, in terms of my daily ritual, I do that. But my goal is a business goal. So you can do whatever you want. I just don't have too many things on the go at one time, because I'd rather achieve my main thing and then the other things that I'm doing anyway, in terms of, my morning practice, getting up early, going to yoga 5 to 6 days a week to set my, that's a big part of my radical responsibility for taking care of my mental state, my physical state, my emotional state. I'm eternally grateful, just I can't express it enough. So when it comes to my business, that of which I do early in the morning serves me, because it's who I show up as during the day, in my business day, being authentic. That's what it's all about. Being in alignment and whatever is in your heart that you want to achieve. This is the way to do it. And look, I have this resource from a self-made millionaire coach. And she teaches this, and I just love her and I respect her. And so I know I have the absolute, I value this very much, that I'm so blessed to have this, to be able to give you this, that I have some wonderful resources through many, many years of starting from the get-go, where I had what I had, but it was like, it was just like, yeah. It was what it was. it served a purpose at that time, but to know that I have the best and that I can be blessing the lives of many women and they can be changing their lives with a formula for consciously creating our reality. It's a huge blessing to me to be able to do this. So I'm loving all this and I hope you have too. And look, you can play this out. If you don't get it, just check in with me, ask me questions. I'm up for that. You know, just send me a question on Messenger or on Messages. If there's something you're not quite getting, because we're all at different places. Don't feel pressured. I want you to absolutely set yourself up for success. And if something isn't right in this that you're not, if you've got a blockage, just reach out to me and ask. Don't judge your question, because I want you to be able to get it. Even if it takes a bit longer, that it's not about that. It's having the clarity and that sense of feeling that you've got it and you've got ownership of it. And so that's what I wanted to give you today. Play this as many times as you need to. Set your own up in a way that's going to work for you. But I'm just sharing this with you because this is what works for me. And look, it goes in my bag. It goes everywhere. And it's flexible. It's easy. And that works. So do what works for you. And big love to all of you. And I'll be back. Have fun with this.